Good evening, everybody. This is Randy Small, Whatcom County Weather, and we're going to do a Facebook Live, hopefully here, and on YouTube and Facebook Live. At least that is the hope here. Just trying to get everything set up and going, and trying to figure out if I have it all set up here. Well, it claims I have a live going, but I'm not quite sure the Facebook part is working right. So we may have to, we got it going on YouTube. I'm pretty sure we're good there. So I will, let me just double check something here on the Facebook side. For some reason, I think I got it. Forgot to hit the button that says go live. So let me get that going, and then I will put the link to the YouTube video on that one. So I think we are all set up over there. I am looking forward to doing this live tonight. So let your friends know, let your peoples know that we are doing this live stream tonight. We'll stream for maybe 30 minutes or so, and I'm going to just put this link up on the Facebook page so that if you want to watch it on YouTube, you can. So we'll let a few people join in here, but good evening, everybody. We hope that you're having a great night. Make sure that you hit subscribe if you haven't on the channel on YouTube and you like it. Thumbs up is great. And then, of course, watching. The more you watch, the better our metrics are going to continue, and we're going to grow. We're looking for 500 subscribers, so we're about halfway there. So let everybody know, because we may very well use YouTube as our live stream option when we're out in the storms this year. So we need to build that page up. But let's take a look at the current weather, and I know more people. Hopefully the sound is good, but more people will be joining us here. We're live on both YouTube and Facebook tonight, so hopefully everyone can hear me okay, and I'm kind of monitoring multiple things here with this live tonight. So maybe in the chats of both, or the chat on YouTube and then just the comments on Facebook, would be good to know if the sound is good tonight. Let me actually put this microphone a little bit closer here. I know a lot of people do lives and the microphone's like right here, but I have a loud voice, so hopefully everybody and everything can be heard just fine. So I don't want to do a whole lengthy thing and then nobody ever heard anything. So just let me know about that in either the comments or the chat. But let's go ahead and take a look at the current situation tonight. We'll start with the radar, and it's kind of foothills, mountains is kind of where things are precipitating for the most part. Not to say that there isn't some light precipitation. It's funny, the Aldergrove radar does not pick up the mountains, but if you switch to the half moon peak up in BC, you can see that the mountains aren't blocked. I think that's because this radar is probably sitting lower here. And then even the Seattle radar gets blocked by the mountains. So this is actually our best radar for picking up the foothills. And then when we look at, it doesn't look like much in the lowlands currently, just checking these radar. And let me just put on the, okay, good. We got volume is good. And I know we've had a glitch on Facebook. For some reason, there's some app or something, when I go to it, it glitches. So, but when you can kind of see we got some rain up over there in the Olympics, and we've got some rain just kind of foothills mountains, maybe a little bit kind of pushing east there from Marysville and Everett tonight. It's gone through, and a little bit more coming up through Shoreline Linwood, but you can kind of see it's kind of turning showery. That's a decent amount of rain coming through the Olympics right now. And when we look out on the coastal radar, which is very nice to have, we see some shower activity. Here's some lightning just off the Vancouver Island coast. So some instability there with probably some cool air coming in behind here. So not too bad, but we have a chance of shower rain overnight, and we'll talk about that in just a minute, what we're looking forward to tomorrow, and et cetera, et cetera. Let me quickly go over to the current conditions, our observations. We call this the observations. Let me turn up the 3 times. So we see a few reporting stations here, but the southerlies pushed us up into the 50s and even higher today. I wonder what the high temp at Bellingham was. 63 today. I doubt that's a record. But 63, it looks like the high temp. We've got the red is the current wind gust, so we still got some decent wind, and 32 in Ferndale, 31 at the airport. Let me zoom in a little bit there. and 24, 25. So decent wind still gusting along the waterways, especially right in here. Still some 18 to 20s on this map and 21 out in Sumas, but it looks like just about everybody's either southerly or southeasterly. Lake Whatcom got a 29-mile-an-hour gust. So still some wind out there tonight, and that will continue in tomorrow as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll talk about that in just a moment here. And we'll kind of try to pick up what we are seeing for the next few days. Let's check the climate stats here so far for the month of November. We had the big record-breaking day on the 1st. That was Saturday, followed by not much the next 3 days here. But I will take a look at what we got today here in just a minute. Let's take a look at the year-to-date. For accumulation through November 4th, because obviously the 5th hasn't been added in. We are about 72 inches behind. So we've made up some of that deficit, but we will see what we got today at the airport. Let me just check on this. Actually, we can look up what the average per day is in the month of November. That's just the total divided by 30 days, and that's kind of the average for each day. It doesn't mean that every day is going to get 0.18 or whatever it is, 0.20 or more. It just means that's how it's averaged. So looks like, let's check how much precip. Okay, precip started this morning at the airport, hence the reason why nothing was recorded yesterday. So we have 0.02, 0.03, 0.02, 0.13 for the 6 hour, plus 0.29. Looks like, so that hour where the rainbow happened, looks like it got over a 1/4 inch, if I'm reading that right. So 0.13 for the 6 hour plus 0.29. I'm trying to do the math. 0.42. Looks like 0.43 of an inch today. Let me see if that is what the airport recorded today. And the easiest way is to take a look at the historical. We'll start the day at the beginning of the day. 12 a.m. Oops. I messed that one up. Hold on. Let me just set this up. Back to November. Went way too fast. Okay, November 5th from 12 a.m. to 9 p.m. Oh, same 0.49. So somewhere I miscalculated there. So about a 1/2 inch there since this morning. And then if we want to take a look at the 24-hour, which is probably what I should have done to start with, we've got, looks like everything happened since midnight. We've got 1/2 inch or a little bit more in Linden, a little bit less here and out by the water. So it looks like the bulk of that main heavy rain this afternoon kind of missed this area, but kind of went right like that. And even maybe missed some of Everson here. Up into the foothills. Looks like we got a decent amount up in the Deming area. Not a ton in Lake Whatcom. So again, that line must have gone right through there. And I think that is correct. 0.53 up there kind of towards the Maple Falls. 0.60 up at Glacier. And look at this. 2.19 inches at Mount Baker. So that's at the ski area, Heather Meadows. So a decent amount of precip in the last 24 hours across the region. We'll have more coming, as we'll see. So that kind of the total. And let's dig into what the forecast might look like here. So let's just run tonight's GFS. Some of you who are watching this probably are getting used to me saying what this is about. So, okay. I see your comments, Ribbon. Yeah, hoping no power outages, and I'm not sure why it froze there, but appreciate everybody who's watching. We got a good number of people watching here on YouTube, and we've also got a good number of people watching on Facebook Live, so that's excellent. Let's put the GFS in motion for tonight's run. It's already through. This is kind of our night here is starting. It's what's giving us a little bit of precip over the day here. And then coming into tomorrow, we see this upper level low kind of heading, and it's going to run north of Vancouver Island. Kind of looks like, at least on this run, kind of right in there, the center of that. That's going to drag in some more precip Thursday. And then it feels like we dry off some point Friday. And you can see, again, we've been talking about this the last few days, that ridge builds up on Friday night, Friday afternoon. Yeah, obviously at night you're not going to see the sun, but dry, thinking dry here, kind of blocking the systems here for a little bit. and that goes into Saturday. So it looks like the weekend, at least Saturday, maybe into Sunday, is decent. And then we have a split flow here look as well coming there. See that split? Let me back that up. See that, how that split there? Kind of like a split flow. Some of it goes north, some of it is down here. And we've got kind of maybe a potential for a little bit of a dry stretch. That's not a strong ridge before we go into midweek next week. And we got this upper level low just spinning around here in the ocean. And that would potentially produce some things towards the California, although it just kind of spins around. And our weather seems somewhat benign here coming up. In other words, maybe less storms here coming up next week, at least on this run. What you also notice is this cold air over here, right here. This cold air coming all the way down into Florida. Maybe you've heard the headlines, but there it is. We talked about that as soon as we saw it. Hi, Keith. How are you? I see you on there. But you see that storm or that cold air. I think it's probably a lot of dry continental air, but especially for November, that's going to be some cold air coming down there. Okay, let's take a look at the euro tonight. It has gone not very far tonight. So let's take a look at the 12Z, just because that is one we can go out kind of far. Here's our systems, or the system for today, and then here comes that upper level low that's kind of going in, just scraping by northern Vancouver Island, kind of right in there, the north end there. That's going to give us some precip, and then let's see, here comes our ridge. So some fairly decent agreement over there. I mean, I'm not getting into the fine details here, but you can see that ridge. The center is the ridge center is kind of BC Alberta line up here, and it's amped up a little bit here, but that it's kind of leaving us still open as this next upper level low, and there goes the split right there. Now the euro seems to want to bring maybe a system down early next week, Tuesday, and then so there's some differences in between the euro and the GFS, definitely, because this is interesting to see that right there. Now this is a 12Z run, it's one run, but we've got to keep an eye on that for next week. That would produce some interesting weather for us next week. Nothing necessarily crazy, but the euro is definitely differing here, at least on the 12Z. I didn't look at the GFS 12Z tonight. Let me just take a look at the 18Z. Let me see what the 18Z is next week, because that's a newer run. There's the split, but then it doesn't hold, and here comes, and then that's where the run ends, but it feels like that's going to swing down. The GFS tonight, if you look here, let me show you. Here's the split, but then this ridge kind of holds, and it doesn't allow this piece right here to swing down. It actually goes that way, and so that keeps us pretty well dry and doesn't allow this door to open now at the end of this run, depending on where things were to set up. If this set up further west, then this right here could come down to us, but that's another story for another day. So, okay, so some differing things definitely on the two weather models as we get into next week. But I think we're good through Sunday, where we should be pretty well in agreement. Let's take a look at the precip totals. It does look like we have some rain on the GFS coming overnight, and we'll look at that a little closer. Yes. We definitely got rain coming in tomorrow, and more in the mountains. Looks like there could be somewhat of a rain shadow here south. I mean, and I've been noticing this. It might fill in eventually, but southern Skagit, northwest Snohomish, can I say it that way? We'll take a look on the euro, but this run's calling for an inch of rain, and that might include earlier this evening's rain, because this would have come out at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So, but definitely decent. And then drying. Here's Friday into Saturday. Let's just see. Saturdays into Sunday, there's no rain. Okay? No rain, and then we won't worry about how far this diverges. Well, definitely does still have some rain, but I bet you the euro is going to be wetter than this. But we'll see. Let's take a look at the Euro 12Z, since that's the full run we've got. The 18Z only goes out 144 hours. 12Z goes out 16 days. And the 0Z hasn't finished its run. It's just started. So, okay, here comes. Now, this was early this morning's run. So, some of this rain is from today. Right here. Not really. The Euro didn't really pick up on that feature that nailed us there very well. Maybe the high resolution models did. I don't know. But here we got some rain overnight or tomorrow morning. And then here comes some more rain during the day tomorrow. So the Euro, not quite as wet maybe as the GFS, but still trying to push us to an inch, although that would again include some of today. That's Friday at 4 o'clock. This looks like Friday mostly dries out here. Looks like Friday, let's see, it's Saturday now, is dry on the Euro, and Sunday is dry until we get into Monday. And let's take a look at this system. Here comes some more rain. Here comes some more rain next week. Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily wetter, but it's sure pretty wet up in the mountains on this run. But again, we're getting way too far out on that. So if we put this at 18Z, I just want to see, yep, looks like it's pretty well the same thing, calling for an inch. A little bit more on this 18Z run, a little wetter. So either way, who's going to notice a difference between a quarter inch? So I think we're pretty good agreement seeing just these weather models. I mean, we can look at the high, the HRRR and say, let's see, is it going to change anything? Hey, it did seem to pick up on that feature here today. It looks like that kind of went there. Maybe pushed it a little bit too far to the north or northwest, but that's what we were talking about. Hit the airport, but didn't really hit Ferndale and got us up in Linden here and parts elsewhere. And that allowed for the big rainbows today. So let's just put this in motion. Here's some precip over the night. And then let's see tomorrow. This is kind of tomorrow. Here comes more precip. Yep. So the HRR is looking at 0.83 through Friday, 0.85, 0.86, 0.87. So similar. I think we're in pretty good agreement, just even looking at the high-res model, that we could see between a ½ inch and 3/4 of an inch more in the mountains and foothills. Something like that between now and Friday morning. So that's the rain side of it. Let me talk about the wind. Let's take a look at the wind. We already looked at that on the observations earlier, but here we got southerlies. This is tonight's run, yes, is out for the UW. So this is 19 is 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So we still got southerlies. It gives you an idea of what it is. That's kind of what's happening as we go into 10 o'clock hour. Still more southerlies, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Maybe some scale back for just a bit in the morning, out kind of up here. It's kind of what it's thinking. And then more southerlies, especially along the water. And then it kind of even picks up more that early afternoon or noontime along the water. That's pushing 30 knots, 25, 30 knots, which would be, 30 to 35 mile an hour gusts, potentially, just give you an idea. And then here's some green, which is 35 knots, and that's about 42 miles an hour. So, and again, mostly southerlies. The way up north here is kind of a battle. And then the southerlies went out again tomorrow night. So I would say breezy into Friday morning, maybe even early Friday afternoon, and it seems to scale back as the afternoon unfolds. And then Saturday, got a little northeasterly flow, nothing too crazy, maybe some east-northeast wind, not seeing anything that's standing out. So pretty benign from Friday afternoon or Friday evening to Sunday. And we'll just stop with that. That's far enough out. Let's take a look at the precip for the UW and its forecast run tonight. Let's just put this into motion. Hang on a second. There we go. So that's through Friday morning. And that is the 60 hours. So that's through Saturday morning. So it's saying, what, ½ an inch to 3/4 of an inch, with an inch, up in the foothills, and then getting into the orange and yellows at the volcano at the top of Baker, 7, 8, 9, 10 inches at the top. Browns are 5 to 7 inches. So it could be fairly wet the higher you go. Now, that's where I want to point out that we are under a winter weather, a winter storm warning for the mountains. And that is from now until 10 a.m. Friday. So you can kind of see that. In fact, if we open the UW snow map here tonight off of the run tonight, let me grab that snow map really quick. We'll just go with this one. I don't think we need to make this a big deal here. Let me just put this, stop that for a second, and I'm going to put this into motion. And let's just go through Saturday or Sunday. Let's go through Sunday. Right about here is Sunday morning, early Sunday morning. They're at the top of the volcano. They're calling for 32, 2-3 feet, maybe more. And then you can kind of see the outer edges. Yeah. And then Highway 20, they were talking about that, and we'll look at that. You can see why they're expecting that. See all the snow, especially probably above 5,000-6,000 feet. So if we read the winter storm warning here, I'm just going to pull it up. And, oops, that's not it. It's right here. The winter storm warning here is till 10 a.m. Friday. Heavy snow. Additional accumulations of 8 to 12 along Highway 20 west of Washington Pass. Additional snow of 1 to 2 feet are possible on Mount Baker. Now, it doesn't really say the height, what the free snow levels will be at. Highest elevations within the Cascades could receive 3 feet of snow through Friday morning. So I'm thinking and when we look at the forecast, this is probably a lot at least through tomorrow above the ski area, even though it's under a winter storm warning. But then you go into Thursday night and Friday, it says snow, even though it says a high of 34, that probably gets drugged down by if it's a decent amount of snow, that temperature could get drugged down. And then Friday night, less chance of snow, but cooling. So at the ski area, they're kind of calling for 6 inches at the high end, give or take. But where they're saying this 3 feet, that's up the higher elevations, above 6, 7, all the way up to 10,000 foot. So, and we could delve into that more, but that gives you an idea of what we're looking at. And it's interesting if you pull up the forecast for the summit of Mount Baker. I always like doing this, and I try to caveat. It says the summit, but we have 10,000 foot. That's the elevation right here. Right here is the elevation of what this marker is on. So we're at the top. That's why these temperatures, are so cold. But look at this. 20 up to 20 inches tonight, 19 inches tomorrow, 18 inches Thursday night. Man, if you're just joining us, you're like, no, this is not the lowlands. This is not the foothills. This is not the ski area. This is the summit of Mount Baker. But another 5 inches Friday. So you start adding this up. 20 plus 19 is 39, plus 18 is 57, plus 5 is 62. So 62 inches is 5 feet. Up, that's the high end. 5, 6 feet maybe of new snow, probably 9,000, 10,000 foot elevation. But then it's less as you come lower, but you can kind of see what they're expecting. So good thing this is, in some ways, it could be called an atmospheric river. Yes, I got that, but this is good, hopefully, precip for the mountains in that above that 5,000 foot level, 6,000, 7,000 and above, we're going to get a good dose of snow on Mount Baker, it appears to me. And I would think some of the tops of the Twin Sisters will get hit as well. I think they're about 7,000, 6,500, 7,000. So hopefully some more snow there as well. So we're under a winter storm warning that was posted earlier on the page. And while I have you, let me just show you, not ESPN, let me just show you on my page, and it's going to say I'm live here, but on our page, we have the featured posts at the top, and I actually need to update that forecast. We're live streaming, but earlier today, we got the rainbow. I have an open house coming up in Linden at Vandergeesen Nursery, where I'm selling my stuff to support our venture here. We put up a tornado warning. We did edit that was expired. We put up the rainbow, but earlier today, and we're trying to use the channels to share with this. We put up about, the rain that was inbound coming in. And I think we got that, right on target there. Morning was posted earlier. Appreciate that. And then we had a radar update at 3. And then we had a southerly wind update. And then last night, I put a little forecast. Northeast winds continue into AM. It actually lasted a little longer, but gusty at times. They've switched to southerlies, beginning with the water, or push into the 40-plus mile-an-hour range. Southerlies will eventually spread throughout the area as the day unfolds. I think we got that pretty well close. Rain will come overnight, early tomorrow. Got that close. Not a huge amount, although probably a little more than I thought. And then we actually got that storm this afternoon that actually brought us some of us an extra quarter inch, basically. Kind of put totals. I think we need to bump this half inch to 1 inch to potentially total from today all the way through Friday AM. Might be an inch to an inch and a half with the half inch some of us got today, or even more. And then the winter weather advisory, but that was turned into a winter storm warning. So all of that we synopsed. I synopsed kind of the Facebook Live from a couple of nights ago right here. And even though I edited it and I put all this stuff, I redid it again. And I think even the high tides really was out on the coast. Although I heard there were some tidal issues kind of on Camino Island area maybe today as well. But, this is where the information can be found. And so if you're like, have questions, check the first 5-6 posts, the latest posts. It might be the first post. And see if you can find out the answer, or otherwise ask away. So that gives you some of the updates of what we're seeing. So I'm going to recap this. We'll recap it by saying chance of rain coming overnight in the early morning hours tomorrow, with probably picking up later in the early afternoon, late afternoon, somewhere in there, into Friday morning with, what did I say, 1/2 inch to 3/4, kind of in the lowlands, possible, give or take, more in the mountains. Winter storm warning in the mountains. I would call it above 5,000 feet, although the ski area is included. But the bulk of the snow, the heavier snow, most snow is going to be above that. But the ski area potentially could pick up a few inches, as we talked about. And then the wind southerlies will continue off and on in varying degrees, but especially by the water. There will be a little battle, it looks like, of northerlies tomorrow out here in North County, but mostly southerlies for most people, I would say. Winds are still gusty tonight, especially out towards the water, Bellingham and Ferndale area. Okay, and then Friday afternoon, maybe the winds start decreasing, followed by drying, and Friday at some point there, probably Friday, late morning, early afternoon, could be still a slight chance of showers, and then Saturday and Sunday look to be pretty nice days overall. Okay, so now let's check the forecast to see what the National Weather Service thinks. This is what I like doing, just to say, okay, this is what I see. Let's see what they see. They're paid big bucks to do this, or maybe they're not getting paid right now, but normally they are. And I get, fun doing this. I have fun doing this. Okay, we got showers tonight. That's a pretty good way of describing it. And then kind of decreasing some, and then 100% tomorrow. And that kind of pictures that late morning, afternoon time frame. Showers overnight Thursday night into Friday, 90%. So basically encompassing, this doesn't mean every hour it's going to rain, especially when you see the word showers. But you get the idea that the next couple of days are going to have some precip, potentially up to 3/4, maybe even a little more. Some of the weather models are spitting out close to 1 inch. So Friday night, you see that lessening chance, but they still leave the chance. Saturday night, Sunday, they're calling chance of rain Sunday. And you know what? I am not looking at Sunday very closely. I've really looked at Saturday. So they're calling it probably because the ensembles have some of that. So, and then they've got the southerly wind mentioned tonight, and then Thursday. This is for Linden, by the way, but it gives you an idea of the North County southerlies, and then rain chance. I'm just seeing the 1/4 inch tonight. I doubt. Well, we'll see. 1/4 inch tomorrow, so that would put us 1/2 to 1 inch. And then more on Thursday night. Though they're a little more higher on their precip totals, and that might be the way it happens. Friday night looks pretty decent. Still chance of rain. High temps 56, 53, 53, 60 on Sunday. Interesting. Sunday, that it could be warmer, and that would be with that ridge. Low temps in the 40s, mid upper 40s. Friday night could be a little cooler, and that would be because potential of some clearing, I suppose, or partly cloudy, I'm guessing. And then I wonder if they're saying anything Saturday. Okay, I was hoping that maybe we see the sun, and I didn't look at the cloud map. And then more rain potentially next week. Okay, and let's just quick look at the forecast discussion. I already got that up here. And then I'll answer questions. Appreciate it if you're watching. Give a thumbs up on YouTube. Give a like or love on Facebook. The more you watch, the more our stream is going to get out. The more people are going to follow it. The more people who can subscribe, the better on the YouTube side. Facebook, just share it if you can. I know we don't want to share. You don't want to share everything from Whatcom County Weather on your pages, but let people know. We've been doing this since 2017. We're about ready to celebrate our 8th anniversary on this page here in a couple of weeks. Maybe we should throw a big party. Maybe we should give something away. Maybe we should have an 8th anniversary giveaway. By the way, we need to get our snowfall contest up. If Jen's listening, we need to make a note of that. We need to get that snow contest up. We got to do that soon. I'm going to try to get that by this week. But I guess the 1 inch or snow at my house, which has always been fun. We give $100 something away. Gift card. We'll find something. We'll dig something out of the backyard. And so the forecast discussion, back to that. Unsettled weather tonight with breezy winds, more atmospheric river conditions will move in for rain and breezy conditions through Friday. Okay. Active weather to resume next week. They're really looking at the Euro, it looks like, and I'm sure the ensembles, and we're not looking at all that tonight. Moderate to heavy rain, thunderstorm chance. So they had some thunderstorm, storms, crazy weather out by the coast and even inland. There's a flood warning on the Skokomish, but all it takes is for anybody to dump a 16-ounce glass of water near that river and it'll flood. But it floods just about everything, any amount of rain. The front, okay, thunderstorms. Okay, that was earlier today, I guess. So that's not tomorrow. Let's see. I'm just reading this. Okay, I have to look at that thunderstorm chance if that was for today or tomorrow. Okay, we got winds with multiple gusts. Some gusts got 50 to 55. Okay. It looks like some of this is from the afternoon. Let's see. They didn't really change much. Doesn't look like. Yeah, previous discussion below. So some of this is from earlier today. Winter advisory has been to a winter storm warning, coastal flooding. Okay, active weather will take a break over the weekend, with the majority of western Washington likely to remain dry, particularly on Saturday. There we go, as the ridge moves in. Slight chance of precipits for the weekend at large, but mostly to the northwestern coast and portions of the Cascades. Okay, I think every time we've done this, we have pretty well got the forecast. I mean, they're saying the same thing. Not really seeing anything I missed. So, okay, let's check questions. Keith wants to go storm chasing. I've thought about having a raffle. I'm serious. As a way that, would help us. Raffle off tickets, and the winner of the raffle would storm chase in a snowstorm. Here's the problem. And we've talked about this on Facebook Lives when we're out in the snow. Here's the problem. Liability. It's not that I don't trust you all, and it's not that I necessarily trust the other drivers out there, but I don't necessarily trust the other drivers often out there. And if there was an accident, I don't know. I don't want, I just don't know if we could do it. We'd have to have a signing your life away thing. And so I'm just not sure I can have anybody in the general public chase with me. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too crazy with that. Because I'd love to do it. I'd love to raffle off for $1 a ticket, and I don't know. I always have great ideas, but it doesn't mean they're going to happen. So let's take a look at, and I'm looking over at my other computer. That's why I'm looking away here. I'm not sure if, just looking at something here. Okay. Well, let's just check for other comments here first. I'm still working out the bugs in this whole thing, so I'm not sure if I've got this down yet of what's going on here. It looks like something may have happened with the YouTube side of it, so yeah, we'll figure this out as we go here. But let me see if there's any other comments. Not seeing much else tonight, so I'm not sure if I lost my stream over here, but on YouTube, it looks like it's buffering. So, oh well. I think I'm going to call it for the night. Thank you so much for following along. Appreciate it. Have a great night, and we'll catch you up on the other side.